Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me for 11.3. Today I will be teaching you how to subtract integers. And the biggest takeaway that I hope you find from today is on this little sentence right here. And let me just remind you, this is one way to do it. Okay, there are a bunch of ways to think about subtracting integers. I'm not saying this is the right and only way, but I think this is the easiest way and the way that I like to do it. Okay, I'll probably give you a couple of different methods today as well. But the biggest takeaway that I hope you get from today is when you subtract integers, you can actually think about subtracting as adding the opposite. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be changing our subtraction to addition and then our next sign to its opposite. And here's a little bit of the reason for doing that. When you think about subtracting, you think about taking away. So, say for example, we're talking about money. If I were to tell you, you had, I'm taking away $20 from you. I'm taking away $20 from you. That'd be the same thing as subtracting 20. Okay. We can also think about subtracting as adding the opposite. So, in other words, that would be the same as me giving you a loan of $20 because a loan of $20 would represent you owe me $20. So now that represents negative 20. Okay, both of those things, taking away 20 and adding negative 20, are the same thing. Okay, so today, when we see subtraction, we're going to change our subtraction to addition and the next number to its opposite. Okay, and that's, hopefully I just kind of showed you the reason for that right here, but it'll make a little bit more sense when we get into this. In the numbers way, they show you that subtracting, if you take 3 minus 4, which they show you right here on a number line, here's 3, and then you subtract 4, subtracting you on the left direction, you'd end up at negative 1. Well, that's the same as if we changed our subtraction to addition and 4 to its opposite, which is negative 4. So 3 would be here, and if we were to add negative 4, we'd have to still go in the left direction, and we'd wind up at negative 1. Notice here that they changed this subtraction to addition, and then they made this 4 a negative. I like, and you might hear me refer to this as the chop method. Okay, the chop method, because we go chop. Okay, and it's just a quick and easy way for me to say it. So you might hear me say that while we're in this section here for subtracting integers. For letter A, it says find 3 minus 12. And if you were in 5th or 4th grade right now, you'd be looking at me being like, Mr. Gillis, you cannot do that. You cannot take a smaller number and subtract a bigger number. That just doesn't work. Well, now that we're in integers and we know negative numbers are a thing, it does work. And so I like to solve this by another method. Sorry, I'm introducing quite a few things to you here, called what I like to call the elementary math method. Elementary math. And the way that I solve that is, you know that you couldn't do 3 minus 12 in elementary school. So therefore, we have to have a negative answer. And then, what's 12 minus 3? Well, it's 9. So negative 9 would be my answer. Okay, and I can use elementary math anytime I have a smaller number minus a bigger number. Okay, that's a great time to use it. Letter B, you could see here I've got quite a few different negative signs here. So what I need to be able to do is to sort out what's a negative and what's a subtraction, and is there actually a difference there? I'll let you kind of think about that. But what I like to do is I like to say the problem aloud. Okay, so I'm going to read this aloud. -8 minus -13. Okay, and wherever I said minus, I'm going to change that to addition, and the next number to its opposite. The same as they did up here, and the same as the chop method. Okay, -8. I'm not going to change this because that's a negative number. Minus. Okay, wherever I said minus, that must be subtracting. I'm going to change my subtraction to addition. Hopefully that. Addition. And the next sign, the next number to its opposite. The opposite of -13 is +13. So this becomes -8 plus 13. +13 is the same as 13. And if you remember from last section, this is just an adding integers problem. I have 8 negatives. I have 13 positives. You could think about using counters. There are more positives, so my answer should be positive in the end. And the difference there is 5. Okay, if you wanted to draw that out like this, you could, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 negatives. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The positive one and the negative one cancel each other out all the way across here, and we're left with 5 positives. Okay. And lastly, for letter C, I'm going to do the chop method again. 5 minus, okay, wherever I say minus, I'm going to change to addition, and the next number to its opposite. So now this becomes 5 plus 4, which we all know is 9. Right? I like those. So think about that. Subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. Isn't that kind of interesting? And what I actually like about this is we're not subtracting a whole lot in this section. We're actually adding the opposite quite a bit. So to me, it's a little bit easier for me to wrap my brain around. All right, go ahead and pause here for the on your own and 1 through 6. Number 1, 8 minus 3, hopefully we all know is 5. But remember, you can think of that as 8 plus -3. And 8 plus -3 is the same thing as 8 minus 3, right? Adding a negative is the same as subtracting. So they're both going to equal 5. Oops, that looks like -5. Equals 5. Number 2, I've got 9 minus 17. This is another case where I'm going to use my elementary math skills. I knew in elementary school that I couldn't do this, so it must be negative. And then 17 minus 9 would give me 8, -8. Number 3, I've got -3 minus 3. Change my subtraction to addition, and the next to its opposite. So now I have two numbers with the same sign. I'm going to keep that sign, and 3 plus 3 is 6, so -6. Number 4, I have -14 minus 9. Change my subtraction to addition, and the next to its opposite. So again, here I have two numbers with the same sign. I'm going to keep the sign, and then 14 plus 9 would give me 23, so negative 23. Number 5, I have 9 minus negative 8, and again here I have the situation where I'm subtracting a negative, so change my subtraction to addition, and the next to its opposite. Remember, subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive, which is kind of mind-blowing if you ask me. So this would give you 17. And then for number 6, negative 12 minus negative 12. Change my subtraction to addition, the next number to its opposite. So now I have negative 12 plus 12. These are opposites. Anytime you add opposites, you come up with 0. Let me know if you have questions on any of those. In the next example here, we just deal with a situation where we might not just do subtract two numbers, or two integers, or we might add in a third or a fourth sometimes. So we're going to follow the same rules. Let's try it out. I've got negative 7 minus negative 12 minus 14. Okay. Here, I really need to keep track of when I say minus, just like before. Okay. Negative 7 minus, so I'm going to change my subtraction to addition, and the next to its opposite. Okay. Minus 14. So I could go ahead and chop here as well. Let's just rewrite this to see what it looks like first. Negative 7 plus 12 minus 14. All right. I'm going to go ahead and work left to right, just like I would because a PEMDAS says to do so. And negative 7 plus 12, that would give me, let's see, 7 negatives, 12 positives. I'm going to be positive, and 12 minus 7 will give me 5. So I've got 5 minus 14. And then I'm going to think about using the elementary math method. I know my answer is going to be negative because I have a smaller number minus a bigger number. And then 14 minus 5 would give me 9. So negative 9 would be my answer. All right, go ahead and try those where you have to do the there's more than two numbers in an expression. For 7 through 12, please pause the video and try them out now. All right, I'll kind of walk you through these just so hopefully you get the hang of it. Negative 9 minus 16, so chop, chop, minus 8, chop, chop. Now you'll see here, we've got 1, 2, 3 negatives all being added together. Every number has the same sign. They're all negative, so I know my answer needs to be negative, and then I just need to add up my numbers. So 9 plus 16 plus 8 give me 33. Negative 33. It would be the same for number 8 here. Negative 4 minus 20, so chop, chop. Minus 9, chop, chop. Again, I've got 3 negative numbers being added together. So I'm going to keep that sign, which is negative, and then just add my numbers. Negative 4 plus 20 plus negative 20 plus negative 9 would give me negative 33 again. I think the book did that to try to trick you. Number 9, 0 minus 9 minus negative 5. Okay, well, I could kind of forget about this because 0 minus 9 is negative 9. So I'm just going to scratch that out. So I've got negative 9 minus negative 5. I'm going to change my subtraction to addition, and the next to its opposite. Now I have negative 9 plus 5, which would give me negative 4. You can kind of see with how you just using a few chop chops, it can really simplify your expression. Negative 8 minus negative 6, so I'll change my minus to subtraction to addition, next to its opposite. So I have -8 plus 6, which would give me -2, and then -0, that doesn't do anything, so it would stay at -2. And then lastly, for 11 and 12, I've got 15 minus -20, minus 20. So 15 minus, change to addition, and the next to its opposite. So 15 plus 20 would give me 35, and then 35 minus 20 would give me 15. Notice how I didn't change this one to chop chop because I can easily do 35 minus 20. I don't need to change this to addition and the next to its opposite. I could. Remember, they're the same thing, but I just like to think about it as 35 minus 20 because that's something I can do using mental math. And in the last case here, we have another situation of chop chop and chop chop. So I'll have -14 plus -9 plus -36. Again, these parentheses in here are used to kind of just keep track of my positives and negatives. We wouldn't want a plus and a minus right next to each other. It'd kind of be confusing. So that's just saying you're adding a negative number. So I have three numbers added together. They all have the same sign, so I'll keep the sign, which is negative. And then 14 plus 9 plus 36 would give me a total of 59. So -59. All right, if you have questions on any of those, please let me know. We'll finish here with a real life example and on your own that goes along with it. It's a question about range. And range, if I'm thinking about range, and we're talking about sea level here. So let's draw, let's say this is sea level. Anything below would be negative elevations, and anything above would be like higher elevations. Like in this case, maybe we're talking about a mountain. Excuse me. Those darn allergies are kicking in. Here's my beautiful mountain. And let's say we're talking about like an underground water table or something. Oh, excuse me, you guys. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so my highest elevation is 6,198 meters, and my lowest elevation is -86 meters. What is the range from the lowest all the way to the highest is essentially what this is asking. Okay, gives you a little hint here. To find the range, subtract the lowest elevation from the highest. So we'll take our highest elevation, 6,198, and we'll subtract our lowest elevation, which is -86 meters. Okay, you'll see here we're subtracting a negative. So I'm going to change my subtraction to addition and the next sign to its opposite. So really, this is just an addition problem. When I add those two, I'll come up with 6,284 meters for my range in North America. I'm going to do the same for Africa. 5,895 minus -155 meters. Chop, chop. And I'll end up at 6,050 meters in Africa. So, which continent has the greater range in elevations? North America has the greater range in elevations. Go ahead and use that same method for the last on your own problem here, and pause the video now to see what you get. All right, if you did that correctly and you took 5,700 minus -10, you'd come up with 5,710 meters for the elevation in Mexico. All right, that does it for subtracting integers. If you have more questions, as always, come see me and I will do my best to help. I will see you next time.